Generally, we all know that a market is where exchange occurs between what the buyer and the seller. That's market. Basically, that's just what market is. There's no big definition, big grammar to it. But here is something that no one has ever told you, right? If you're done with secondary school, this is what they have not taught you in school and you've not found out yet. And that is what the seller's market and the buyer's market. There is something called the seller's market and there's something called the buyer's market, right? I learned this from Pennsylvania University and all of that. But you see, seller's market focuses on, I wrote here, it says it focus on getting the product better, right? That's the seller's market. Why the buyer's market? You may be wondering, what is buyer's market? I don't understand, right? Buyer's market focuses on offering value at a higher price to a niche customer. Here on the screen, it says it focuses on customer and competition, right? So let me break it down. So let's take Coca-Cola for instance, right? Let's take Coca-Cola for instance. And Coca-Cola is a seller's market. Yes, Coca-Cola is a seller's market. They focus on getting the product better. That is, there is no, they don't really have any, if let's say 50% or let's say 50 customers complain about the way their Coke is, they don't really care. They are not really going to be bothered, right? Because they are focused on getting their own product better. They are not really focused on the customer, right? They are focused on the product, right? They are product oriented, right? But when you talk about the buyer's market, and this is where I won't call it the normal traditional market and all of that, but it's beyond that. But I'll use that as an example. So for instance, if your mom runs a shop, right? Have you ever been in a shop or you've worked with someone where your boss or your mom or your dad, whoever, is having a conversation beyond what the customer came to do, right, in that shop? For instance, now let's say a customer comes to my mom's shop to buy bread, right? And my mom is done selling the bread and they start talking about something different from bread. Maybe start talking about church, or maybe start talking about school, or maybe start talking about something that happened last week, right? That is what we call the buyer's market, right? So my mom is now not just focused on the bread that the customer came to buy, but focused on the well-being of the customer in general, right? That's what we mean by buyer's market. Right. So how does this relate to me and all of that? Right. Like I said like I posted on the group, right? If you're interested in starting a business or you have an idea in starting a business, I am not saying that the seller's market is better than the buyer's market or the buyer's market is better than the seller's market. I'm not saying that. I'm only giving you the awareness that there is difference when you're focused on just your product and not the customer, and there's a difference when you're focused on the customer and the product. Do you understand? So let me move on to not this yet. All right. The common saying that customers are always right is true. Take it that way. And this is for people who are focused on buyer's market, right? These are for people who are focused on just the buyer's market. So customers are always right? So let me to break this down very well. Look, these are the three principles of marketing. I think this will help us very well. The three principles of marketing. Number one, principle of customer value. I almost said computer. The principle of customer value. Now, let me explain what this is. Right? Principle of customer value. This is basically solving the market customer value, right? First of all, what took you to that market is what we're talking about. So, for instance, you realize that the area where you stay, there is let's say there's no water, right? There are people don't buy water, or people lack water or something. People fetch water from well, right? So that's a problem, right? That is a problem. So you after so many thoughts, you're like, okay, wait, what if I can get water from another community to this community and sell to them, right? They will buy because they don't have good water, right? So that is generally the principle of customer value. You are solving a problem. It's general. This is the general aspect. So this is where you solve problem. You think of a problem happening in your environment and you solve it, right? You solve it. But now, moving on to principle of differentiation, right? I wrote here that it is offering the value but much better than the competition. So for instance, still using that bad water and stuff, right? Still using that bad water illustration. So imagine you are not the only one thinking about starting a water factory, right? Because your people do not have good water. So you're not the only one thinking of going to another community to get water, right? Other people were also thinking of doing the same thing, right? So eventually, right, let's say 2, 3, 4 persons did it at the same time, right? You guys went to the same community at maybe the same week and got the water, right? And you like, so it was not only me that was thinking about this thing. Now you have entered into the stage of the principle of differentiation, right? But what is now really the principle of differentiation? It is offering the same value but much better than that of your competitors. That is much better than that of the others that actually started with you. Do you understand? This is what we mean a principle of differentiation. You are completely different. It means that when the community comes to, let's say you guys are on the same housing complex or the same plaza selling the water, people leave their shop and come to you because what you offer better value than them. Do you understand this? Now, the next one, which is the last one, is the principle of segmentation, targeting, and positioning. This is where I'll enter into branding. Please, can we hear me? Because I can't really see anybody. Can we hear me? Yeah, talking about principle of segmentation, right? Targeting and positioning. I'll just briefly explain this, right? I wrote down here, this is when you are offering much more value, but focused on a particular kind of audience, right? So I simply put it this way: not everyone can afford the value you offer. I don't know if you get that. Favor, do you get what I just said?
Yes, I got it, sir.
All right. So now let me in one. I think I put it down here in my slide. What I just said is this. Just look up to the screen. What I just said is this. Let's read it out loud.
If you want to be rich, sell to the rich, sorry.
All right.
If you want to be rich, sell to the rich.
So you see, the principle of segmentation, targeting, and positioning is basically this that we have here on our screen. If you want to be rich, you have to sell to the rich. What do I mean? Still using the illustration of the water issue and all of that. So imagine you and the 5 others in the same environment selling that water, and everyone in the community is coming to buy from you guys, right? So now you have left the aspect of differentiation. You are not just better than the others that are selling, but everybody cannot afford your product. Everybody cannot afford the way you offer your water. Now I know what's coming to your mind is, then how do I make gain? How do I profit? How do I, Now this is the aspect of it, right? You package your product in such a way that you make your product so valuable that you cannot. That means the community cannot afford your product. It means that it is only people who are rich in that community that can afford your product. So imagine normally you were selling, or when you started, you were selling maybe 1 gallon for 20 naira, right? So the moment you upgraded, right? Now only the rich people in that community can afford your product, and you start selling for 1,000 naira. Do you understand? You start selling it for 1,000 naira. What just happened? You literally 10x your marketing. You literally just 10x it. right? This is what we mean by, if you remember, buyer's market. This is what we mean by buyer's market, right? Not everyone can actually afford what the buyer's market does, right? See, the truth is, so many people now, with so many companies now focus on this buyer's market aspect. There are a lot of people that does seller's market, like if you know Yale's biscuit, the one that produces okay, let's say Pale. I don't really know about much about Pale and Yale, but the one that Pale, the one that produces Pale G, Milk Power, Top, all those plenty different kinds of biscuits, right? That's an example of a seller's market. They produce in mass, make sure their products are well and all of that. But for the buyer's market, these are people that, your company can be big as well, but you start small. That means you're taking notes. Going back to the water issue, you're taking note of the rich, the average, and the less average in that community, right? So you may be thinking that others are making profit because they have so much people in their shop coming to buy water. Why people are just trooping in once in a while, or let's say one person in 2 hours and all of that throughout the day. And you're like, am I making any profit? Remember that the value you are offering is much more expensive, right, than what the others are selling. Do you understand? So at first, there may be a little bit, of challenges here and there, you doubting yourself and all of that. So as I round up, let me show you guys this table. I think this table will do justice to everything I've been saying so far, right? Let's focus on production orientation, right? I know these words may I'm really grateful that Favor you're here. I'm grateful Joshua you're here, right? See, if you need to understand these things I'm saying, right? If you're not in school yet, or you're entering school very soon, right? It will help you, right? When you start thinking of the businesses you want to start, right? Online business, physical business, any kind of business, this will help you. There are some terms that you may not understand now. It's fine, but just understand that you're learning. So don't see that it's what is this guy saying, right? So production orientation, right? Like I said, under production orientation, you see here it says it persuades customers to want what the firm has. They persuade customers to want what the firm has. Right now, what does this mean? Like I said, like I use Palegia and Milk Power for example, right? So Palegia and Milk Power produces other biscuits, right? If everybody in Nigeria complains about their products, they might likely, because I use everybody in Nigeria, that's wrong to use anyway. But they might likely not respond to our complaint. The reason is because they focus on persuading us Nigerians to buy their biscuits. They are not concerned about how we feel about their biscuit. All they are concerned about is, we have made this biscuit and we know this biscuit is good and you must eat it. That is what product orientation is about. Do you understand? So this is a general product. Under it you see generic products, right? So this is a general product, right? This is a general product. Now let's move on to marketing orientation. This has to do with, persuading the firm to offer what the customer wants. You persuade the firm to offer what the customer wants. So this is directly opposite of what? Of production orientation. Right? This is opposite of production orientation. Right? So marketing orientation is, let me use the same example. Everybody in Nigeria complains about Paleji, right? Then Paleji, like, why is everybody complaining about this product? Now, we as the customers, we are persuading them to change this product. This is not what we want. And they will do as we say. Because what? If they don't change it, we will not buy it. Right? So under that, you see that we have differentiated product and services. Remember what I told you guys about what's the other slide? Let me just remind you again. Why does this thing keep showing? Remember what I told you about what's it called? The principle of differentiation. The principle of differentiation, right? So yeah, Now, moving on to experience orientation, right? Moving on to experience orientation. I don't this whole thing. I think I'll stop here actually. Experience orientation has to do with it manages customers' entire experience with the firm. So, for instance, let's say in Jedo now, I think there's which restaurant have I seen that have how many franchise right in Jedo? Okay, Frontex, right? So Frontex has quite a number of franchise in this little community as they say, right? So now imagine you go into franchise, you go into rather Frontex, right? And the moment you open the door, an odd smell welcomes you. A very very odd smell welcomes you. Will you actually want to eat anything that they sell there? No, you will not. In fact, someone like me, I will turn back unapologetically. I will turn back immediately because I can't come to your restaurant and an odd smell is welcoming me. So this is what we talk about. This is what we mean by experience orientation. This is a firm. This is a business. This is your business, and you're focused on making sure that the customer's experience from entering the place to getting what they need to paying, the process of paying, the packaging. Some people will buy things of 1,000 naira and will not give them black cellophane, all those kinds of things, right? Or someone will come to repair their TV, and they just came to fix the remote or something, and then you spoiled the TV, or you gave the TV issue. For instance, now my brother went to fix his phone, right? He went to fix the screen. I don't know, somewhere he went to replace completely because the screen was completely bad. So he went to replace the screen completely from where they sell the original screen or something like that. And they did not have the original screen as at that time. Guess what? My brother came back with his speaker bad. You went there to repair your screen, and then you came back. The screen is not repaired, but you came back with the bad speaker, right? So imagine him. Will he ever want to go back to that place? No. So this is what we mean by experience orientation. It is experiential value. You value your customers so well that you want everything they encounter to be so well. You want everything they do, every of their experience in your establishment or in your business, right, to be perfect. Let me go to if it's a skill you are learning, right, or if it's a skill you want to offer, a service. Maybe you're into website design, or you're into graphic design, or you're into copywriting, right, or you're into content creation, or social media marketing, or social media strategies, right? You're into one of all these many things, right? You make sure that the people, your clients, experience the kind they have never experienced other places before. This is what we mean by experience orientation, right? So after you pass this stage, you now move on to what we call trust orientation. This is now when your customer trust you so well that they will find it really difficult to leave you. They trust you to that point. They've built a relationship with your trust. They've built a relationship with your discipline. They've built a relationship with whatever that made them stay loyal to you, right? So this is what we mean by marketing, right? So now, how does this relate to brand? If you have listened to me very well, you understand what. I didn't go into competitive advantage and profitability drivers because I think that might confuse us a little. But the main reason why we are here, let me just put this thing so that you keep reminding. Okay, I've not done 4 P's of marketing. Okay, I will do that now. Right. So I want to put this here so you keep remembering. This will keep playing in your head even after this class. If you want to be rich, you sell to the rich. Now, when we say branding. Basically, what we mean is basically the experience that your customer, finds when it comes to your place. Like I put down here, it says what a brand is in today's world is what the customer think it is. What a brand is in today's world is what the customer think it is. So how do you transfer what you have, or how can you, as a business owner, right, as an enterprise, right, how can make sure that whatever your customer think is positive, is lovely, is amazing, is beyond what you have ever thought about, right? How can put that in place? I think it was Scott D. Cook. I don't know if you guys know him. He says a brand is no longer what we tell the consumer it is. It is what consumers tell each other it is. So, for instance, let me go back to. I think I'll stop sharing my screen now. So you see, it is no longer what we tell the customer it is anymore. It's no longer that. For instance, imagine okay, I know about Joshua. I don't know if Favor has a business that she's running, or you have one in mind that you want to run very soon. But I know Joshua is into phone repairs and all of that. So imagine Joshua promises that every phone that is repaired at his place or at his function, leaves a smile on your face, right? That's what he promises, right? Now, what we say brand is not, right? What we are saying brand is that Joshua in his mind is saying that any phone that it gets repaired at my enterprise will put a smile on my client's face or on my customer's face. But what brand is today is not that. Do you get? What branding is today is not that anymore. It is eventually what the customer says it is. So if the customer leaves angry, just like my brother, he left angry. He didn't even realize until he came back. He was like, what's going on? Why is my speaker bad? Do you understand? It was already too late for him to go back. Right? So imagine that kind of stuff. Like, it is what the customer says it is. So imagine maybe I have the same issue and I want to repair my screen. I will not go back to him. I will never go back to him. My brother will never refer me to him. The reason being because he has had a bad experience with that person. So he can never refer me to that person. So the brand of that person is the experience of praise, rather, of my brother, right? The brand of I don't know what the name of the repair is, but the brand of that person in Plaza right there is, or rather, the brand of that phone repair and all of that to me is the experience of my brother. So that is why you see, in our coming down to our level, right? We are not in the Coca-Cola game or in the Pepsi game or in the mass production game and all of that. We are, doing small businesses. Some of us are currently learning skills that we can start offering services, right? So coming down to our scale, the only thing that will position us to the highest of the highest is two things. The experience. Number one is the promise. Number two is the experience. In as much as what you promise your customer is not really necessary, it is eventually what the customer says it is that it is. Guess what? If your promise to the customer, like I said initially, Joshua's promise is that after repairing your phone, a smile will be left on your face. You will be happy. That's what we are saying. So, if Joshua promises a smile, right, and after repairing the phone, he now smiled. The customer now smiles. The customer is now truly happy. What have you just done? You have increased your level. You have increased by level, because there is nobody that customer will, talk to. Okay, let's say someone is having issue with a phone around that customer. There's nobody that customer will not refer, Joshua to, or that person to Joshua. Right? Because of what? The experience, the promise, the promise did not, the experience did not just did not just happen. It met what with what the promise of Joshua's company, right? Of Joshua's company. So you need to understand that what can I offer? I think that was there's another major aspect. It's just that I actually skipped some things, right? But there are major aspects, right? There's operational excellence, there's performance superiority, there's customer intimacy. There's so many things in business, but I don't want to blow you guys with so many theory. See, if you have anything, any business idea in your head, leave the ideation stage. First thing first, put it down. First thing first, make sure you write it down. The moment you write it down, it's time to take action. The moment it is written down, it is time to take action. Do not wait, because tell me why you are waiting. What are you waiting for exactly? What exactly are you waiting for? So what if you've waited 2 years and you eventually did it and you realize that this is not what I actually want to do in my life, or this is what I actually want to be doing now? What happened? You wasted 2 years thinking about that particular business and you eventually did not do it. Do you understand? So this is to, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying any idea that comes you should just do like that. No. Right? You should have some structured, reasonable ideas. Like we dealt on mentorship yesterday, right? If you have a mentor or if you have someone you truly look up to, right? You ask the person, these are the several things I'm having that I want to do. Sir, ma, what do you think? How do you think I should go about it? Which one should I go with first? Which one should I cancel? Which one should I... And is any of them reasonable at all? Do you understand? That's, we dealt on that yesterday. The slide will be sent to the group tonight, right? But I'm coming back to, branding, right? Branding is basically the experience of your customer, right? So you have to do everything in your power to ensure. You have to do everything in your power to ensure. Like I said, you have to do everything in your power to ensure that your customer gets the very best experience that you offer. Do you understand? Your customer gets the very, 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 very best that you offer. It's very important. It's very, very important. They must experience it. And that's what we call branding. That's what we call branding. So I know we've heard so many things about brand, blah, blah. Some people say branding is the color. Some people say branding is the logo. Some people think branding is, no, I'm here to change your mindset and perspective about that. Branding is not the color. Branding is not necessarily the logo. It's not necessarily the color, right? All those things are subsets of branding. But what brand positioning is, what branding originally is in our world today is what? The experience that your customer lives with after you have offered a service or after that customer has bought a product from you. Please, do we get it? If you got that, just drop an emoji. Let me know that you guys are following. Just drop an emoji. We're already rounding up. Just drop an emoji. Let me know you guys are following. All right. So like I said, we're rounding up. I'll just briefly share my screen again and show you guys something. There are 4 P's of marketing, right? There are 4 P's of marketing. There are 4 P's of marketing. Just give me 1 minute. Praise, you're welcome. You just joined us. You're welcome. Right, so there are 4 P's of marketing. Right? And I believe you guys already know this, right? This is not new. Number 1 P is what? Product. Second P is place. Third P is promotion. And the 4th P is price. Now, let me break this down. You see, the product is what the seller puts into the exchange. Remember what I told you guys initially. For praise that just joined, let me show you something. Remember what I told you guys initially, what marketing generally is. It is what? The exchange between the buyer and the seller, or the seller and the buyer, however you want to put it. That's just basic marketing. But you see, now you may ask, what does the seller bring to the table? What And this is what I'm talking about. What the seller brings to the table is what? The product. The seller brings what? Product to the table. Now, you may ask, what does the buyer bring to the table? The price. The price is what the buyer puts in the exchange, right? So therefore, the price is what the buyer puts in the brings to the table. That's what the buyer brings to the table. Do you understand that? Now, what does place and promotion have to do with the four P's of marketing? Number one, the promotion is how the communication, the promotion is how the seller communicates the product. The promotion is how the seller communicates the product. This could be in terms of advertising. This could be in terms of giveaways. This could be in terms of orientation. That is, you are giving mass awareness about your product. For instance, how many of us have you're on YouTube, or I'm always on YouTube. I'm actually I'm not on any other social media, but you're on YouTube, right? And if an ad just pops up and they're telling you Money Point is giving. I think I was watching. It's very funny. I was on YouTube and I was watching a particular video, right? And that was like a 10 minutes video, and Money Point was just coming up consistently with different kinds of advertisement, all still about Money Point, right? You see, that's awareness, that's promotion, right? They spoke in Pidgin, they spoke in English, they spoke in different languages, they spoke in Hausa. Do you understand? Right? All these are different kinds of art. So imagine not just me, but hundreds, millions of people receiving this art. This is what we call the promotion, right? Promotion is how the seller communicates the product. Because before someone comes to your office, before someone, comes to your shop, if you have one, before someone buys a product from you, they need to understand what the product is about. They need to understand, what am I buying? So that's where promotion comes in. You are giving awareness. You are telling the seller, the buyer, that this is what you will get from this product if you buy from me. Do you understand? That's what promotion is all about. Now over to the place, right? Definitely you need to have a place, right? And in our world today, this generation has been so easy that we always don't have to be in a physical shop or in a physical office, right? The place is how the seller delivers the product. The place is how the seller delivers the product. Mind you, I did not say is where the seller. I didn't say is where the seller delivers the product. I said is how. Take note, how the seller delivers the product. It's important. So you can deliver your product, online. How does Jumia deliver their product? Or how do you get a product from Jumia? Do you understand? Temu that came up recently. How do you get the product? Temu is not even in Nigeria. It's not a Nigerian company. So how do you get the product? Do you understand? So these are different aspects. These are different, capacities of businesses. But always remember, back to branding. I'm just, like I said, I'm showing you guys branding from the aspect of marketing, right? It means that I want you guys to understand marketing, and I as well want you to understand branding, like what branding is all about. Do you understand? So if you've not taken anything home today, you need to take this home. And that is, branding is what? It is the experience. Don't forget, branding is what? The experience that your customer, your client gets from you. Do you understand? So please, we've come to the end of this, tonight's session. If you have any question, Favor, Joshua, Praise, you have any question, I am very open to answer your questions. You have an idea in starting a business, or you're already currently doing one, and any question at all, The floor is yours.
Yes, the word you said about like we should not sell to like that if you want to be rich, that you should sell to rich people. Like I am.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. So I want to ask, like in that environment, what if like um these people that are there that are like yeah, like they are not really that, let me say like less privilege, they don't really have like enough hands. Also, there's like you have also like you are also paying like a higher price, like looking to like for rich people to buy them. But you have a competition like telling and like lower or affordable price. What can somebody do to like maybe, let me say, like no, you also want to research rich people, but also you don't want to like also leave customer like okay, focus on only rich people, you understand that. What can be the strategy that some can do for these
All right, all right. I love that question so much, right? And I would say that it varies, right? It varies on the business exactly. But what is constant is this, right? I'll be honest with you. If you want to focus on selling to the rich, there are two things involved. Listen and listen very well. Two things involved. Number one, make up your mind that you are not selling to any other person but the rich people. That's number one. Secondly, you must improve your skill. If what you're doing, if your business is skill based, if it has to do with, you need the skill has to be, there's some businesses, that involves you need to be there to do it, like your skill and all of that, right? You need to improve your skill. If it's like maybe you buy and sell and stuff like that, then you need to improve how your customer experience. Maybe you have a shop, an online shop, like I have an online shop, right? So my experience, how my customers come to my online shop, is the experience they get is different from my competitors. Do you understand? It's different from my competitors, right? So I personally went the extra mile towards to not my T's and dot my I's. How they say that word, right? So there are two things involved. Number one, make up your mind, because let me tell you, it is going to be hard. Because tell me, where will you get money to keep going, right? But that's why you have to make up your mind that there is no any other excuse but to sell to the rich. So now, when you begin to think that way, subconsciously you begin to position yourself in that way. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. You begin to position yourself in that way. If you follow me really well, if I talk to you every day, I will always tell you, you have to be intentional. You have to be intentional. You have to be intentional about what enters your mind, what comes out of your mind as well. Right? It's a mind game. Right? It's a mind game. So when we talk about selling to the rich, that is what we are saying is your value literally cannot be cannot be afforded by others, but only what the rich people. Do you understand? So two things I will the answers to the two answers, or rather the answer to that question is: one, make up your mind that you will sell to the rich. First, make up your mind. You have to first make up your mind, right? Then the next thing, the moment you make up your mind, position yourself. And how do you position yourself? Improve your, if it's a skill based business, improve your skill. Make sure that your competitor that is selling at lower price is not better than you in any way. You are far way more efficient. You are far more, reliable. Your customer, the way you communicate with your customers, it's top notch, right? And so many other things. That's how it works. Do you understand? That's. I don't know if I answered that question.
You answered it, sir. Thank you, sir.
All
But
right.